everyone. This has been a long awaited, very much needed life update episode that I owe you guys. And I'm excited to kind of lay out everything that's happening. I feel like one of the reasons why I've stalled on recording this episode is honestly because things have been so up in the air in a way where I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I don't want to give you an update and then be like, retract, not happening anymore. So, the first thing I have to tell you guys is the book release. So, if you don't follow me on Instagram, or if you do, but the algorithm fucks you from being able to see my content because that happens. And if that does happen to you, I would really recommend, because I do this for my favorite creators, is I have notifications where when they post or do a story, it notifies me. This also really helps limit how much I'm on my phone. I was talking to some of you in her a couple weeks ago in the integration call for month one, because one of you were asking about how to spend less time on your phone and kind of like break that addiction. Anyway, so if you go into Instagram, when you go to my profile, top right hand corner, there'll be like a bell and you can essentially turn on notifications. I love this because then I will only open my app when it shows me like one of my favorite content creators or like people I follow has actually posted something. And the best bit is that it only goes to their profile page. So once you finish like watching their story, you don't then accidentally get sucked into everybody else's story. And before you know it, you've been on the app for 15 minutes just wasting brain cells. Once you finish watching all of their stories they've posted, then it just takes you back to their profile. So it kind of like disrupts you from then being able to just stay on the app, get addicted, and go watch a million more Instagram stories. It just helps a little bit. If I know it's not perfect because the app is designed to like make us really addicted, but it really helps me because it's just that little bit where it's like I have to take the extra step to then like go back to the homepage area to then go watch other people's Instagram stories, and that stops me from doing it. Anyway, that was a total side note. but the point is, Jelly, where's Daddy going? Oh my God, he's got his little head out the window. We're upstairs and he can see the driveway from here. And he's just, my fiance's just pulled out to go somewhere. Okay, so the book. We are launching the book in February of next year, which is super exciting. I have a publishing deal. It's all happening. It is like a big project that's going on behind the scenes. Holy shit, you have no idea how much is involved in a book. Some of you were saying this to me after you saw that kind of like reel that I posted after me and my team were in New York just for like 2 nights or something, because we had to do this like video shoot for my book. Oh, hi, buddy. And you guys were like, I had no idea that there was so many things like involved in releasing a book. Now, granted, I mean, you could do nothing, but then it's like the book isn't necessarily going to be as successful. Oh my God. Jelly, you look very cute and you're really perfectly aimed in the frame right now. Okay. Back to what we're saying. But we are obviously going balls to the wall with it because I want this book to be a wild success. I am hoping that you guys can help me in really making this book a movement. Like, this book is not just another personal development book. It's not like a sex book. It's not anything like that where you can find another version of it on the shelves. Oh my God, Jelly. Why is he so cute? Like, look at him. So it's not the kind of book that you can just find on the shelves. Jelly is very distracted this episode. Thank you. He's gone down now. Okay. He got the gist. He's like, okay, we're disrupting mummy. This is the kind of book where it has the ability to quite literally open up a conversation that people so badly want to have, but are afraid of having because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on it. So we are going to have pre-sale around July time. Now, obviously don't hold me to this because like this has just been discussed with my publishers, but obviously things could change depending on how long things take, because sometimes things get delayed. So that's happening around July time. And then the actual book will come out like for you to actually be holding in your hands or to have on your Kindle in February. I am obviously working super hard on there being the same release date in Australia and the UK and Europe, which is extremely hard to do. I didn't realize. Often people will publish it in one country and then like a month or two later, it comes out in the next country. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to fly. I made that very clear. My publisher or the CEO of the publishing house was like, what are like the most important things? And up there, Australians, I stood up for us. I said, Australia cannot be left behind. I said, we always get, or at least when I was living there, it was, maybe it's changed now because the internet is so good. Back when I was living there, if you guys remember, you would get like the movie in the cinema like 3 months after the US did. We would get everything so far behind. It was literally like we don't even live on planet Earth. And like some kind of spaceship has to get to us to deliver us the DVD so then we can watch it in the movie cinema. Anyway, maybe it's different now, but it's not with books. So that's been a really big thing of Australia has to get it at the same time as the US because one, I'm Australian and my Australian community has been there from like the get-go. You guys are what got me here. I was living in Australia. My Australians were supporting me because it was a majority like an Australian audience. Now I actually have a majority US audience, which is great, but you guys are still a very predominant part of my audience. And so I'm negotiating all of that. We're trying to get all of that sorted, but there's just like so many fucking things. I don't even understand how to explain it, but I'm actually having to write a few more chapters right now. So that's been happening. There's just been like a lot on. Ladies, if you haven't seen that, I have put on another masterclass. Yes, we have another one. You guys have been loving them lately, and I have been adoring putting them on for you guys as just a little bit of a different medium other than just Instagram and the podcast. So with that being said, if you haven't registered for the latest podcast, the latest masterclass, which is called The Blueprint to Feminine Embodiment, I highly recommend that you do. You guys know I'm going to break down all the bullshit that you see on Instagram. I'm going to give it to you really, really real. And obviously I've been doing this, maybe not obviously, but I have been doing this work for going on 8 years. So I kind of know the truth and the bullshit. And we're going to go into the truth on the masterclass. So the link to register is below, and I hope to see you there. So what else is happening? Obviously, we're planning our wedding. So our wedding is happening in September in Italy, which is like, oh my God, I'm so fucking excited. It is a 5-day wedding. And every night I'm like sitting down doing planning for it. We have a wedding planner. I could not do this without a wedding planner, especially because like I don't speak Italian. Yeah, so we're organizing all of that, which is super exciting. And we have everyone flying in from different parts of the world because obviously I'm Australian, he's American, and that kind of thing. But it's hard like doing an international wedding, and it's hard because, you know, people don't come for various reasons. And it's also like it's kind of easy to make an excuse not to come, especially if you have kids and whatnot. So that's been like a challenging thing because there's some of our really good friends that aren't coming, which is obviously a bummer. But I was having this conversation with one of my friends actually who can't make it to the wedding. And I wasn't like annoyed at her for not being able to make it to the wedding. We were talking about how I feel like these days, because like social media fucks everything, not everything, but like it has a big influence on some of the negative things. But I'm also really grateful for all the good things it does because let's be honest, we can all shit on social media all the time. And I do like to bring up the negative so we're aware of like the reality of life. But I also am very grateful for social media because, for example, I live on the other side of the world, some of my best friends, and social media has allowed us to stay connected. Anyway, so yeah, it's hard when also it's hard obviously and it sucks when some of your friends can't come to your wedding. But what I have really anchored into is like I get that it's a wedding and it's like this big fucking thing and oh my God, you're only getting married once and it's like it's your wedding, but I also really hold the reality of it's just a wedding. Like, it's not like I'm never going to see you again. It's not like you aren't cheering us on and celebrating us and loving us and sending us good vibes. It's not like you don't want to be there. It's not like you're not supporting us. I understand that as an adult in today's society, we are pulled in so many directions and it can be really, really hard. So like, you know, some friends can't come to my bachelorette, some friends can't come to my wedding, some friends can't come to my bridal shower, like all these different things. And like, honestly, guys, half of them I'm like, do I need a fucking bridal shower? I'm like, this is getting out of control. I'm like, which is hilarious to my fiance because he's like, Monica, you love a moment to like dress up, have a party, and people to be celebrating you. I'm like, yeah, but I'm in my like gardening era. Like, that's the real life update. I'm in my fucking gardening era. I just want to be outside in my Birkenstocks, my straw hat, and my fucking bikini and like picking raspberries off my raspberry bush and for freaking gardening. Like, that is what I want to be doing. And so I'm having my second bachelorette soon in New York, which is going to be great. But part of me is like, ugh, do I want to do this? And then I have my bridal shower, which is also hilarious because my mother-in-law is organizing it. My mum's helping as well, but obviously it's a little bit hard on the other side of the world. But like she's throwing it for me with some of her friends, and she's like asking me all these questions, and I'm like, honestly, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not even buying a new dress for it. I'm like wearing whatever in my closet because I'm just like, this is getting out of hand. I think also because I have so much on at the same time, and it's this like juggling act, which I'll get into in a second. But because I have so much on at the same time, my brain is like, I don't want to allocate more resources to this. If I wasn't doing anything and I was bored brainless, obviously this would be like super exciting and I'd probably be living it up a little bit more. But I have been really cognizant of that, of, am I just being like, oh, I can't even be bothered because I have so many other things going on? Or is it just like, it's just not really like, I don't really need it. Like, I'm excited for my wedding. I don't need all these other little bits. And also like with my bachelorette, I'm like, look, my Sydney one was amazing, as some of you guys will have seen if the YouTube video is out yet. If it is out, we'll put the link below. If it's not, it'll be coming soon. Um, it was amazing. And my New York one is going to be amazing. And like, it's super fun to just have a girls' night and whatever. But I'm one of those people where it's like, if I want a girls' night, I'm just going to make one on a random weekend. Like, I'm not that person that like needs an excuse to do something. I'm like, oh, it's spring, let's throw a party. So anyway, that was a total side note. But but I'm also really aware that I do not want to not allocate the time to planning all these things and enjoying all these things and then regretting it. So that's been something that I have been very, very aware of. So part of this, phase that I'm in as I'm going into this new season of my life, which I'll explain in a second, part of this phase that I'm in is really pausing and being like, is there space for me to just enjoy this season that I'm in right now? I'm in a very, very transitional season. And I'm that girl that has dreamed about her wedding since she knew what a wedding was. I've had this my Pinterest board forever. If you scroll far enough back, you're like, oh God, she had her boho phase. I had my boho phase. Anyway, and you can see it on my wedding board. But I am that woman. Like, I was that little girl that dreamt of her wedding. And so I'm very cognizant of, I don't want to just brush past the planning because I'm like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I got more important things to do. I don't have time. And then regret that. So I'm actually being really aware of allocating time to planning, even if that just means like scrolling Pinterest or looking at different flower options or different plate options. I'd rather spend more time on it than less, because I will never ever get this time back. Like, I'm not getting married again. This man is my soulmate. Like, I have no doubt about that. And so this really is like the one time that I actually have the opportunity to do this. So anyway, and obviously there's like other things in the future that I could spend a lot of time on planning, but I want to plan my wedding. So I've been really aware of that, which has meant that I've been trying to pull back in terms of the time that I'm spending on work and just like really simplifying. We're in a phase right now as well where we're doing a lot of streamlining. We've been doing a lot of streamlining for like the last year and a half to prepare for me becoming an author, and then all of the time that obviously takes away from my clients and like me being able to do like business stuff, like this business, like business admin, client work, etc. And so we've been really streamlining and also really simplifying, like really trying to simplify. I've been really trying to simplify so that I don't get this like massive kind of jolt when I become a mom or when I'm an author, because I don't know what's going to happen when that book comes out. Like, it could be like, okay, nothing happened, whatever, life is the same, or it could be crazy. And I just don't want to feel like I am having to like catch myself in a way. I want to just feel like I've set myself up for success in the best way possible. Now, granted, you have to release control. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen. And I know that like whatever happens, I'm going to manage. But I am really trying to simplify now so that we're not trying to change like the operations of the business at that period of time, because we're being like reactive. I don't want to be reactive. So we're being really proactive, and we're basically assuming that I'm going to be way busier than I probably will be. I mean, we don't know. We're manifesting also. But yeah, so like there's been like this whole season of stuff going on behind the scenes in the business. hired new team members as well, which has been really awesome. Also time consuming for those that run businesses. It can be really time consuming to it doesn't matter whether you're hiring the most amazing person in the world, it's still obviously a time consuming thing. And like, you're teaching them how to do new things and how it needs to be done, like, a certain way and that kind of stuff. So we've been doing all of that. But, again, it's like, it's I'm doing it in like a different way is the best way that I can describe it. Um, I feel like this like makes me emotional to say, but I feel like at the end of this year, beginning of next year, oh my God, I feel like the last 3 episodes I've been crying. Like, what is happening? I feel, I do feel like the end of this year, beginning of next year is going to be the end of an era in a way. I mean, I've run my business, my programs pretty much the same way for about 7 years. And it's all like, I'm not doing this because it doesn't work. Sorry, I'm not changing anything because something is broken or doesn't work. I'm actually changing things to allow me to enjoy the new phase of my life that I'm going into. And what I'm really cognizant of, which I hope you guys know, because I'm always harping on about this, is changing things in a way of like, I want to make sure I can manage it all basically, but I'm not changing it where you guys get less, if that makes sense. We're changing things where actually you probably won't even notice a lot of what's being changed because so much of it is behind the scenes. So you probably, like, if you listen to this episode again next year or whatever, or if you're listening to it like a year from now, from like, does that make sense? Like, if you're right now in 2025 listening to this for the first time, you might not notice any real difference, but there will be a difference, at least for me. I'm becoming an author in February. We're also planning to step into parenthood sometime in the next like year and a half, depending on things. But that's kind of been another thing that's been up a little bit up in the air. I have been really like, I want to fall pregnant at a certain time. And then we had this really great meeting with my publisher in New York when you were recently there. And then before my immersion, and we did that whole like book shoot and everything. And my fiance said to me, he said, like, do you want to be pregnant at the same time as this book is coming out, basically? And it was one of those hard things. So I'm getting a timeline from them, basically, from my book agent to kind of figure out how much is actually going to be involved. Because, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't even know how to explain this. It's like, I cannot wait to be a fucking mom. Like, I feel so ready. But after the wedding, universe, after the wedding, I have a really tiny dress to fit into. After the wedding. I said this in another episode, I think. That wedding dress is literally our condom right now. That is our condom. Like, that is our protection because I can't I literally, when I was there in Sydney, they were trying to sit me up and she was like, "Oh, the dress is a little bit tight right now." And she couldn't get the zip up. And she was like, "What phase of your cycle are you in? Like, were you in a different phase like a week ago?" And I was like, I can't remember what I said, but I was like, "Oh, I have to pee." Like, but that won't make a difference. Like, I'm sucking in. She's like, "Please go pee." I go pee. I come back and the dress zips right up. And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, so safe to say, that's the situation. But what's challenging is like, I'm so ready for this next phase, but part of me is like, will I be really busy with my book and work and all that kind of stuff where I'm not actually going to want to be doing like those two things at the same time? I don't know. Like, I was saying this in the recent vlog that we put up on YouTube, where it was like kind of behind the scenes of the book launch. I'll put that link below. Not book launch, sorry, the book shoot, of just like, I honestly am like, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know the answer. So I have honestly surrendered it to the universe. Like, I have surrendered our timing to the universe with like children, or our first pregnancy, and like all of that, because I am like, there is so much happening next year, or like, as in the book is happening next year. And I'm like, have we got enough ski holidays? Literally, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, shit, what about skiing? I was like, oh my God, have we done that enough times? Like, have I gone skiing I haven't gone skiing in like, was it the Swiss? No, it wasn't the Swiss Alps. It was like the Italian Alps or whatever, Italian Dolomites. We did that one trip. The skiing was so bad, I don't even count it. We like skied for 5 seconds and we're like, this is shit. So we got off the mountain. But my point is I've really surrendered that to the universe, because I just don't know the timing. And like, I don't know the best timing, and the universe does know the best timing. So I've surrendered that. But I do know that like it's going to be happening soon. And I do know, for example, that this year is the last where I'm running my 3-day immersion. And that's fucking bittersweet. Like New York is the second last one. Paris is then the last one. What a banging way to finish it off though. Like sold out. We're going to like we're having an event in bloody Paris. Yes, like just yes, full stop. Um but that's bittersweet. I mean, that's going to be my seventh of my immersion. I did a retreat in there as well, but two retreats in there as well. But of my actual immersion, which is crazy, like crazy, crazy. And you know, I know that I'm going to do in person stuff in the future. I mean, I don't think we'll be doing any in person stuff next year. Um, I'm hoping that we can do how great is this life update, guys? Like, you've been wanting one, and I'm like, this is why I haven't given it to you because I am literally in La La Land over here of I don't know. But hopefully, this is at least giving you something. I'm wanting to do some kind of like book tour or podcast tour, like book launch party situation, a few spots in the US, and then London as well. Australia, I think we're gonna try if we can to do like a pre-launch book party when we come in December, but we would have to do it like right before Christmas, which is like really bad timing. We'll probably have to do it like the very beginning of January. We haven't really figured that out because we're not coming for like too long. And obviously it's over that like Christmas, New Year's time. So it's also like really bad timing. But I was trying to squeeze in like a book launch party for you guys, meetup situation. But we won't have physical books then. Lol. Because it'll be before the launch, but that's like how I can fit you guys in because I do not want to come back to Australia 2 months later. Sorry, but not sorry. That flight's too long. And the time difference like literally kills me and I can't take client calls whilst I'm over there. It's just like the time difference is too much for everybody. So I'm trying to do that at the beginning of the year around book time. But then in terms of like an immersion like event or some kind of like in-person experience, I don't think we're going to do one next year, which is why why I was saying to you guys when we were launching the immersion this year, this is the last one. This is definitely the last one of the 3-day immersion. Like I will not be doing this exact format ever again. Well, I could be doing it again, but I'll probably be like 40 and the kids are like grown up at that point, but not this exact format. But, you know, I trust that I will have some kind of in-person thing because I love my in-person. I love connecting with you guys in person. In-person is just a whole other level of healing. I think it's super important for me to continue to have it. And I know that I'm not going to be doing it whilst I am pregnant or obviously like early postpartum in that kind of first 6 months. So it's probably not going to happen next year, but maybe the year after we will then do some kind of like version of the immersion, just like a bit of a different format and not like as like compact into those 3 days is kind of what I'm thinking. Cause that's where I'm like, oh, I can't do those. I can't do those, 20-hour days, 3 days in a row, like at the same time of like as breastfeeding or having a tiny baby or whatever. So um that's kind of the life update with personal stuff and book stuff. In terms of only other things that I want to update you guys on, but you'll have an episode coming out on this, is it next week, is a Queen Alchemy update. This is also going to be the last round of Queen Alchemy for this year, and also the last round of Queen Alchemy where it's going to be this live with me. I explained it all in there. It's not that Queen Alchemy isn't going to be live anymore. It's still going to be live. It's just going to be that essentially some of the mini trauma calls will not be live mini trauma calls, but all of those main trauma healing calls will still be live. You'll still have access to me via Telegram. Like I explain all of that and the importance and why it has to stay that way and why like ethically I will always keep it that way. And if I couldn't run it that way for some reason, I would basically not run it till I could. So I explain that in next week's episode. So you guys can listen to that because we're about to go into the launch of the last round of Queen Alchemy for this year, which is crazy. And yeah, basically things feel chaotic and a bit hectic and a lot of unknowns. And I'm a bit stressed. I'm a little bit stressed in terms of just all the things. Like I'm having to reapply for my visa, which is great. Yay. Having to do that. Obviously, the book, we have the events. June, we're in Europe for like 3 weeks doing Paris immersion. Then I have my certification retreat for those ladies that I'm training to basically be able to do what I do. And then we come back for like a month and a half and then we go get married. I'm going to cry. Oh my God. I literally was thinking about whether we want to do a first look or not. I did a reel on this. You guys were so helpful in the comments. Thank you so much. I did one like a few weeks ago on like, do we do a first look or not? Like, please give me your thoughts. And just this last weekend, I was sitting at the table in our kitchen table, not our dining table, if you know, like a bit of the house vibe, the kitchen one. And I was like, okay, why do I actually want a first look? And we're going to do a big Q&A for the wedding. I'm really hoping that he will do it with my fiance will do it with me. You guys need to blow up my DMs basically saying, please do a Q&A with him. Please, 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 for like the wedding and whatever. And then maybe that will make him be like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Anyway, and so what was I saying? I just started crying. I figured out the plan. I figured out what we're going to do. I ran it by him and he was like, I love that. That sounds literally perfect. It was like, we're meeting in the middle. Essentially, you guys will get the details when you get the details, obviously after the wedding. But I just had a bawl in my eyes out, and he heard me from his office, and he's like, "Babe, what's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing, nothing." And he comes running out, and he's like, "My heart is pounding. Like, what has happened? What is wrong?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just thinking about our wedding." And he was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, I was about to have a heart attack. My heart is pounding. I thought you like saw something really bad on the internet. I thought something really bad happened, blah, blah, blah. And I literally was just bawling my eyes out because of how much I love him and how excited I am to marry him in my dream dresses in Rome. Oh my God, I'm going to cry again. Okay. What else do I am a mess. How is Monica doing right now? Well, she cries on every podcast episode. Shit is chaotic, I'm telling you. It's actually not chaotic because I honestly have such amazing, like, masculine structures that I'm really leaning on right now, where I don't feel like things are chaotic, but I also validate the fact that right now there's a lot in my head and like a lot of moving pieces, but I am just staying I'm staying focused. I'm staying grounded. I'm making sure I'm having me time. I'm sitting outside. I'm being in my garden. I swear to God, gardening is healing. Like, the end, full stop. Gardening is healing. It's done something to me. I think you guys could all agree. Like, it has done something to me. Literally, we're trying to come up with things for my bridal shower registry because we've done our house. And so we don't need like pots and pans and like that house kind of stuff. And my mom was trying to she was, doing some like shopping for me to try and find some ideas. And because she's like has done my interior design she did the interior design for my New York apartment. And then she's also been doing our house, and everything she's pulling is literally gardening. And I'm like, I just go through my phases. Like, I'm horse riding, I'm gardening, and then like a week later, I'm in New York in a red power suit, like in my Dior heels. When I tell you that I embody every flavor of the feminine, I truly do. You don't know what you're going to get each day. I'm not vanilla. I keep things exciting. I keep things entertaining. I love embracing all sides of me. That is in a nutshell true feminine embodiment. Embracing all sides of you. You do not need to fit in a box. You don't have to only be one flavor of yourself. You can be the farm girl, the gardener, the boss bitch, like all of it. The wife, the homemaker, the slut, all at once. It's a vibe. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to share with you guys? A little life update. Yeah, that's everything. That is a little life update. So, a bit of a ramble, but hopefully it was entertaining for those of you that care about my personal life and just like what's happening. And I have really been trying to get more vlogs on YouTube as well, so you guys have that long form content of seeing things. So I hope that you are enjoying those. If you haven't gone and watched them already, reminder to do so. They've been really fun and just easy and whatnot, and it's super nice. It's just like something different from Instagram stories, and they don't run out after 24 hours, which is nice for you guys and also nice for me. Okay, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Queen Alchemy opens in a few days, and that's all from me. I will see you guys next week in the next episode.